One area of grave concern would be the declared change in.
Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel once more. Team Tesi Reaction is my name. Kindly for watching this video for the first time, make sure you subscribe, like, share and comment. So in today's video I want to show you about this. Let's watch this video about Jamaican leaders and so Caribbean leaders. So Caribbean leader has break silence and sending a warning response to Donald Trump and also United States. We know that recently we saw United States government, Mark Rubio and Donald Trump threatening the Jamaica to cut tie with Cuban doctor and also Jamaica to cut tie with Chinese. So kindly guys, let's watch this video until the end and then I'll come back with more comment.
And mounting pressure, Caribbean leaders can no longer ignore the looming trade war between superpowers USA and China. At a critical turning point, Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness finally steps forward to address the crisis that threatens the entire region. What was once a distant clash between economic giants has now become our problem. Rising prices, unstable markets, and foreign pressure are squeezing small island nations, forcing us to make impossible choices. Will we be pulled into the crossfire, forced to pick a side? Or will the Caribbean stand together and carve out its own path? This is more than politics. This is about our sovereignty, our economy, and the fate of every Jamaican. Drop a like if you believe Jamaica must stand strong. Subscribe if you demand bold leadership that puts Jamaicans first. Because this conversation, it's just getting started.
And I'd like to invite my brother, Prime Minister Holness, to be able to address on the issue of the trade implications and aspects of the very challenging environment within which we have to prepare for other eventualities, but we do so with calm assurance. Thank you. Andrew.
Thank you, Prime Minister Motley. First, let me say thanks to your government and the people of Barbados for the excellent arrangements and hospitality. My own view, Mayor, is that the meeting went very well, and I join with my brother Irfan in filing a claim to your Labour Department for having us work till 1 o'clock in the morning. But it was all good for the people of the region, and I believe...
I'm going to beg Prime Minister Davis to defend me. Thank you.
And I believe the people of CARICOM can feel confident in the leadership. The issues that were addressed were relevant issues for the development of the region, and we grappled with them in real ways to seek solutions. One area of grave concern would be the declared change in U.S. trade policy. Many businesses have reached out. The private sector is indeed concerned. I believe that the posture of CARICOM is that we must be prepared. We can't approach this with any panic, and we should also accept that with these changes, the concern shouldn't only be that there would be disruption in the normal routine of trade, but that there could also be great opportunities for the region. The region has a well-established office for trade negotiations, and it has worked very well for us, and we are using the incredible resources in that office to study the challenges that could come and to provide us guidance, all the governments in the region, guidance as to how we should structure our trade policy to both mitigate any fallout but take advantage of the opportunities. We will therefore be conducting a very detailed review of our trade situation with the United States, and we hope that in another 3 or 4 months we will have a document which will give us a policy direction and give advice and support to the governments of the region as to how to treat with any potential change that may happen in U.S. foreign policy. We also discussed issues of security, and I know that Prime Minister Rowley will deal with the security issues, but while I have the microphone, it is of critical importance that the region treats with the issues of gangs. And Jamaica has taken a very strong position on treating with gangs. We see gangs as an existential threat. Obviously, the ultimate case would be with the situation in Haiti. But we also see gangs acting in ways and committing acts that can only be described as acts of terror. And therefore, I have called in Jamaica, and I'm making the call now at this CARICOM platform, that there needs to be a global war on gangs in the same way that there is a global war on terror. If the gangs are allowed free rein, they will challenge the effectiveness and undermine states, which we are seeing happening not just in the region in CARICOM, but in the wider Central and South American region. So we discussed the issue. I believe there is general consensus that in addition to treating with the security issue from a public health perspective and treating with the root causes of social disenfranchisement and economic marginalization, that there needs to be a firm hand in treating with the gangs, particularly as it relates to the transnational element of the gangs, which means that the countries in the region would have to have greater cooperation and sharing of intelligence and resources in tackling this very grave threat.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Madam President of Barbados, Dame Sandra Mason, distinguished heads of state and heads of government of the Caribbean community, Secretary General of the Caribbean Community, Secretary General of the United Nations, President of the European Commission, Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Chief Justice of Barbados, the Honourable Mr. Leslie Haynes, distinguished ministers of the Caribbean community, members of Parliament, members of the judiciary, members of the diplomatic corps, ministers from Saudi Arabia, Canada, France, and indeed Special Envoy from the United Arab Emirates, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. You have heard everybody on this platform this evening. And what is clear is that it cannot be business as usual. We have come to Bridgetown in this year of 2025 at a time when the world is reeling from all kinds of problems. The climate crisis, we don't need anyone to tell us about it. Prime Minister Mitchell spoke from the heart with respect to the consequences of Hurricane Beryl in Carriacou, in Petit Martinique and Grenada, in Union Island, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines generally, to the farmers in Jamaica, and to the fisher folk and fishermen of Barbados. We know what it is each summer to have to hold our breath and to wait and to hope that this is not going to be our turn. We know firsthand how the world has become an awful place since the pandemic, where all of the warts and all of the scars and all of the cuts have become very, very clear and open for everyone to see, and where effectively the world has said that might is right, and where small states are often excluded because our orders are too minuscule to command attention. We live in a world where fake news is now the order of the day, and day by day leaders, not just of governments, but of churches, of private sector, of households have to worry about the fact that someone will post something that probably is not true about them. We live in a world where the opportunity for facts and shared values in common spaces is becoming rarer and rarer simply because everyone is into their own echo chamber rather than in national entities being able to share and to relate so that we have a common perspective to keep our democracy strong. This meeting, my friends, cannot be business as usual. The Secretary General has already heard me on the fact that the only way we will make it through these difficult times is if we are prepared to be more unified and bolder than ever. I pray that those comments which have been made up here, and I thank Decon for also speaking on the matter of reparations and reminding us of the importance of the African Union this weekend. I was there, yes, with the Secretary General and Professor Arama from the African Exim Bank. And indeed, the partnership is strong, and we await the next meeting, the first one ever in person, on the 7th of September. We thank you, Ursula, for coming to the Caribbean, because in this world of grave difficulties confronting us at all levels, partnerships across the world will be important if we are going to survive the many challenges that are not unique to any one region, but indeed hold all of us in a very, very difficult position. I ask us, as we reflect on these matters, to recognize that if this institution of regional unity is to be fit for purpose in the 21st century, the third decade, then it may well require some decisions, Ralph, that those of you like Roosevelt and yourself may have wanted to see in the past, but have eluded us thus far. Freedom of movement of Caribbean people is at the center of who and why we are here. And I trust and pray that we can leave Bridgetown with clarity on this objective. Secondly, the issue of cost of living continues to bedevil too many of our people, and we run the risk that our traditional sources of food may well become more difficult to access because of the climate crisis and because of decisions on the movement of labor. And to that extent, while we have spoken at length always about creating new sources for imports while boosting our production regionally, we can no longer speak about it, but it must become a reality, because food and water are the new oil of this 21st century. At the same time, our education is in shambles in the region, and the quicker we come together and coordinate the reform that is necessary for it, the better we will be, because we cannot build out this region with the old educational systems of the colonial system that are hierarchical in nature and ignore the reality factor in the past, nor now guns. And the Secretary General of the UN has put it most appropriately in his speech. But suffice it to say, as I said on our own Independence Day in Barbados last year, we in this region are paying too high a price for the Second Amendment rights of Americans. And the reality is that we have come at this point with a George Bridge Declaration reached by heads of government in Guyana on the 25th of November last year that will allow us to address issues of strengthening our law enforcement, strengthening and reforming our criminal justice system, but above all else, treating crime as a public health disease, and also ensuring that we create the opportunities for our young people so that they are not taken on that path that has led us in this region to have one of the highest homicide per capita rates, regrettably, in the world. My friends, I have said these things, recognizing that if ever there was a time for us to make bare our hearts and our minds to each other as heads of government, it is at this point. And I trust and pray that if we are able to do so, then we truly can hold hands and walk in lockstep. This is not a moment today for me for a lot of long talk or a lot of long speeches. What is required of me as chairman is to ask each and every one of us to make that commitment, to expose our hearts and our minds and find common ground and common purpose, so as to ensure that as the world starts to fall in ways that none of us expected 20, 30 years ago or even 10 years ago, that we can hold a center, recognizing that we will always, always, always be stronger together. We have a responsibility to reform this institution. We have spoken for too long as to the need for independent funding mechanisms, whether it is assessed at the imports, whether it is an issue of a small fee for all border passings, people coming in and out of our borders, or whether it is the assignment of renewable energy licenses to CARICOM and our regional institutions. The time is upon us for settling the independent funding of this Caribbean community. In addition, we need to review the governance mechanisms and to recognize that there may be a need for a greater political voice alongside the administrative structures of CARICOM as we have come to know it over the last few decades. I pray that as we reflect on the urgent need for cooperation and unity, that above all else, we shall continue to see our people up front and center. In that regard, the Haitian people must be at the center of all that we reflect upon. Their situation continues to be of major concern to us, and it is not going to be sufficient just to be able to say that Haiti will have an election on November 15th. It is not going to be sufficient to just stabilize the security situation of Haiti. 30 years ago, when I came to public life, my Prime Minister at the time made his first trip when he was sworn in to Washington to deal with the issue of Haiti. 30 years on, we are dealing with it again. In the absence of a proper development plan that sees the people of Haiti, that gives them minimum rights of education and access to health care and all of the other basic rights that we fight for our own citizens. In the absence of that, Haiti will be around as a problem in another 10, 20, and 30 years. That cannot be the aspiration of Caribbean people. I ask us as we come to Bridgetown, therefore, to appreciate that we may not have the luxury of having a heads meeting that follows the usual template. But if we can, at this meeting, really expose our hearts and our minds to each other and agree on a common platform on critical issues, we will not get it all right one time, but we must have a common vision, and we must be prepared to recognize that none of us will get exactly what we want, but we must all work for what the people of the Caribbean need. And if we can do that, then we will have run successfully our leg of the relay race. It was once said, when the West Indies Federation broke, that 1 from 10 leaves 0. Today, the heads of government and the heads of state of the Caribbean region must show in a mathematical way that 1 times 15 is equal to 1. If 1 times 15 is equal to 1, then we shall be able to withstand all that is thrown upon us from the world and from within, and arise to the point where we will bring to our people a level of economic development, stability, and prosperity, in spite of the fact that for 6 months of the year we live in fear of that climate crisis, in spite of the fact that we are subject to international economic shocks, in spite of the fact that all of these things continue to be devilish. And why? Because we come from a proud people who have known what it is to be resilient and to rise above all challenges. Indeed, the challenges that we face in the 21st century at a personal level cannot come close to what our ancestors were forced to confront in the settlement of this modern region. So, my friends, I want to thank you. I want to salute the people who performed on this platform. I want to salute my young citizens who spoke in a way that almost did not make it necessary for me to speak this evening on this platform. And I invite you, as you reflect on this meeting, to recognize that with a true Caribbean flair, we can do serious things while still remembering who we are and how we move as a people and our culture. And in that vein, I invite you back to Barbados between the 22nd and 31st of August for CariFesta 15. I say to my brothers...
Now, the question is, where does the Caribbean go from here? For decades, we have been caught in the shadows of global superpowers, forced to navigate a world where the rules are written by nations far bigger than ours. But how much longer can we afford to be pawns in their economic battles, when we have the power to stand on our own? Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, Guyana, the entire Caribbean, we are stronger together. But will our leaders have the courage to put our people first, to reject outside pressure, and forge a new path forward? Or will we watch, yet again, as powerful nations make decisions that leave us scrambling to survive? Drop a comment below. Should Jamaica and the Caribbean unite for economic independence, or is aligning with a superpower the only way forward? Like this video if you believe it's time for our region to rise. And subscribe, because this conversation is far from over.
One area of grave concern would be the declared change in U.S.
Hello guys, welcome back. Hope you have watched a very powerful message from different leaders of a Caribbean. As we all know that the Caribbean is the island, and those leaders are just black people, and they are really united and they love each other. So this time round they have come out and they have responded what the government of United States said about Jamaica to cut ties and to cut ties with China and also Cuban. We know that Jamaica, Caribbean is the most united Caribbean island. Jamaica is from Caribbean and it's just a small island, but it is an influential country now in the world. Most of people loving to hear about Jamaica. So Jamaica has been trending along icon. That's most of people, they have come to Jamaica to invest. We have seen a lot of Chinese, a lot of Indians, a lot of people, Asians has come to Jamaica to invest there, and this has made United States to be furious with those countries. So in recently we saw United government threaten Jamaica to stop working with the Cuban government. We know that Cuba is the country that can produce our best doctors. All the best doctors come from Cuba, and you can remember the time of COVID-19. The only doctors that were known across all over the world were the Cuban doctors. They helped a lot of people in doing a lot of research to come out with a lot of medicine so that they help our people. So Cuba has the best doctor, and Cuba has no enemies. You can see they were working with different countries. Even in Africa, they have really dominating in Africa. So Cuba has been the best country, and they have no any bad thing with Jamaica. And Mark Rubio sends a warning to Jamaica to stop working with the Cuban government. And why these things happening? Because the United States, they don't want any country to come out and have working with that. They just want their own to colonize their country, and they want to rule them. So this time round, they have blamed a lot of Jamaica for welcoming Cuba in Jamaica. Another thing is about Chinese. We know that Chinese is the neutral country. They have been dominated across all over the world. You will not go to any country that you can miss Chinese. Chinese has a lot of investors, and these people are just the engineers, not only being engineers that just are friends. So a lot of African country and also Jamaican has Chinese in their own country. When one thing about Chinese love each other. When they come to a country, might colonize you. So when they come to a country, they come and they come in unity and they start calling the other Chinese. We have seen a lot of Chinese in Jamaica, dominating in Jamaica. Even they now speaking patois language. So, and this has made them to a United States to be furious with what Jamaica is entertaining these Chinese in Jamaica. We have seen the Prime Minister of Jamaica came out and said that for starting for 5 years the Chinese are not going to pay a tax. This made the Chinese to be the people come out in large and said no, you can't allow the foreigners to not pay tax, and we the local we are just paying tax. So this was the leakage for United States to come in and say that Jamaica to stop working with Chinese, because Chinese now have come out and they are really investing in Jamaica and also this in the Caribbean country. So the leaders has come out and condemned what the threatening from this Marco Rubio and also United States towards the friends, because you can't, if you can't select me a friend. I'm the one who can select my friend. So this has made those west country to be harsh with what is going on in Jamaica, because a lot of people are now in Jamaica, a lot of Chinese now in Jamaica, and he said that when you continue working with those country, I'll stop giving you any help. We know that this west country, they have a lot of help, like maybe this U.S.A, a lot of this organization are now from the United States and this western country. So this western country, they don't want to see any progress from this region. So he has come out and he has said that they will cut tire, they will not help Jamaica if they continue doing with Chinese and also Cuban. And this has made the Jamaica Prem and Holiness and also the Barbados Piemontely and also all the Caribbean has come out and condemned what Mark Rubio said about Jamaica, because Caribbean are just a small island and they love each other. And also people from Africa has come out and defending the Jamaica from being threatened from this United States, because we know that United States is a superpower, but you cannot come in and just start threatening the small island. They call us the third world country. So these things has made us being harsh to them and has sending a warning to those people to stop entertaining with their needs. So kindly guys, as we Africa and also Caribbean, we must unite it and we must send a warning to this west country to stop exploiting us, to stop using us as a puppet, because you cannot come in and start choosing our friends. Each and everybody has a friend, so they cannot choose as a friend that you cannot work with Cuba, you cannot work, and we know our healthy is the biggest. We must develop our own healthy. Our health is the main thing. So when the Cuba's doctor come in Jamaica, they are helping us. They are not helping the people of United States. So kindly guys, let's come together and rally together and support our own country. We cannot allow to lose our country. So kindly guys, for watching this video for the first time, Team Tessie Reaction is my name. Kindly subscribe if you haven't subscribed, like, share and comment. Bye for now.